El siguiente programa es una producción independiente. Las opiniones, comentarios y expresiones del mismo no representan necesariamente las políticas institucionales de Doral Voice ni de sus patrocinadores.
Hi Doral, this is Ruben Alcoba. I'm here with Teron, Coney. I'm here with MJ, both business ballers here, and they're going to help you understand how to brand yourself, how to take your brand to another level. Teron is a professional player. He used to play for the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm an old guy. I always say, they've changed it to, wasn't Los Angeles Raiders too, and Oakland Raiders?
Oakland, Los Angeles, they bounced all over.
Oh, I'm getting too old. But okay, Las Vegas Raiders. Here we go. Linebacker Teron Coney with MJ. They're gonna help young athletes from all communities figure out. Hey, listen, it's not enough just to play football. What do you do afterwards? How do you make money? Again, MJ, Teron, please introduce yourselves and let's help people.
Go ahead, Tavon.
Hi, I'm glad to be here. I'm Tavon Coney, a professional athlete linebacker, Las Vegas Raiders, and happy to be here with one of my partners, business ballers, MJ. So ready to talk about some fun things today that's going to help a lot of people, especially young athletes who are currently trying to figure it out.
So tell them what you got going on.
I always say, I think I got a lot of great things going on outside of football. Been doing a lot of business and into the whiskey industry. Lately, I've got into private equity and started a company called Jan Capital with one of my other co-partners, Malik Zaire, and we've been looking into buying different companies and growing them. Lately, we've been looking at real estate as well, finding different properties to help our businesses, help our investors, and just really growing there. So I think this year is going to be a really good year for me personally in the real estate industry, where I'm going to be really going out there and buying a lot of properties and growing them.
So talk about the NIL. It's all the hot topic in the world right now, and it seems like it's changing a lot of football teams. Could you give like a quick overview of that so some people might not know what that is?
Oh man, I'm a little jealous of NIL. It came about 3 or 4 years shy of me having the opportunity, but I think the NIL is important. It's really an opportunity for student athletes to become a brand, and we've talked about this for over decades of athletes being able to monetize all the hard work they've been put in and naturally have fan bases and people that support them on and off the field. So I think the NIL is an important opportunity for kids to see that there are opportunities for them outside of football, that it's not all about just playing football. And I think just for the NIL, is just having the structure and having great mentors like myself, like yourself, MJ, who are able to show the kids what's out there. And it's going to be a lot of good and bad out there for NIL. And that's why it's having those right mentors and having those right people that's going to show to you in the right crowd and the right things that you should be doing. So I think NIL is great because it just gives them an opportunity, like I say, to take advantage of all the hard work they've put in already.
So from your standpoint, did you come up from a rich family?
No, I would say low middle class. Both my parents worked 40 hours. My dad was huge in dry cleaning business. My mom worked at the county courthouse as a clerk for 30-some years and retired like my freshman year in college. And so, yeah, we grew up working hard for what you want and having values, having morals, and standing on those. So, I was truly thankful for having both my parents who instilled hard work in me. So it was like we didn't have everything, but we had enough. And I think that's what gave me my philanthropy. I'm big on giving back to kids and showing people how to work hard to accomplish your dreams, because I didn't have it all, but I think I had belief, I had faith, and I had a good support system who gave me an opportunity to go out there and learn, and had an opportunity to go to Notre Dame and meet many great people as well, and just continue on that journey.
So the first time you got a check, you went out and bought a Ferrari?
No, I probably said that when I was a kid I was going to do that, but no, I did not do that. I actually started a whiskey company with a guy who all he knew how to do was make whiskey, and I said, I want to own a business. So I think one of my first ventures was starting a whiskey company, and I was always big on, once I got to NFL and I got a great platform, the two things I wanted to do was start a kids foundation and give back, and then start a business to grow and one day be able to give down to my kids and my family. So I've always been big on building stability outside of football. So that's why I really think it's cool that they were able to come to agreement and start something like the NIL, which gives kids an opportunity to build stability outside of sports.
So when you say give, what do you give?
Give back to kids.
Yeah.
I give knowledge, essentials like school supplies, laptops, book bags. But one of my biggest things I think is time and mentoring. A lot of kids, you seem to realize that they don't need many things but a mentor or somebody that's there that's going to tell them right and wrong and tell them what opportunities is there for them. So I think when I tell people I give back, I think the biggest thing I do is give back my time. And then other than that, I'm able to find different people that to raise money to be able to help from a financial standpoint, which I know some of that is a problem, but most of the time it's just the kids having a mentor around that truly cares and going to give them that valuable information that they need.
So the kids coming up now, the NIL kids, they come up and all of a sudden they get a big check, or they're getting $200,000, $300,000. What kind of things should they do from a financial standpoint? What's important? Spend as much as you can, as fast as you can?
I always say before you even get the money, you almost got to know what to do with it, or it's already gone if you get it. So if you get the $300,000 and you don't know what to do, it's almost already too late. And the sense of that is, people always think that you need the money to know what to do, but like, no, the perfect time to know what to do is do it when you don't have the money. It's too late when you have the money, because now you got all these options now. So now you're going here, you're going there, and you don't even really know what's the best place for your money to go. But when you don't have it and you're able to sit down and think about all the good things it can go to that's going to give you a return or give you some stability in the long term, when the money does come, then you know where to put it at. So I always tell guys, if you wait till you get the money, it's too late.
I got a quick question. Would you advise kids getting that money to maybe get an insurance, a work insurance, a life insurance, something in case they got injured to compensate them? Should they maybe not reach the pros because they get an injury? I think it happened to a young player last play in college. It was a running back, really good running back. In the last game, I don't know if it was in the championship, the guy ended up blowing a knee and he ended up losing his career. What would you advise people, young kids that are getting all this money? Would you advise them, hey, put a little percentage of that money maybe into an insurance that maybe will get you paid the rest of your life?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely various of different things, like accounts, like with the insurance, or if you have like kids, you want to get some of those RA accounts or different things where, and a lot of people say, put $500 a month away, especially when you're making that type of money. You want to make sure that you're putting a small piece that's going to give you that compound interest. So, it's various of different things out there that kind of complements different people depending on how they pay structure, how they like to get paid. But yeah, it's definitely, I would say, for the young guys that's in NIL, if they're receiving any kind of money, to make sure they're always putting a small percentage back into those different accounts that's going to give them interest. Because if you leave it in the bank, I always tell them, if you got money in your savings or your checking account, you're doing yourself a disservice. So if you do have the ability to have some money up savings for your next couple months to live, and you start making money that's a good amount, then you definitely should start taking a piece and putting it towards an account that's going to give you some compound interest, which is a lot of people don't know about, is that compound interest. They think about just having the money, but if that same dollar can turn to $10 without you adding the dollar, now you're winning. Not trying to make $9 more, or making that $1 actually turn into $10, and now you're playing a serious big game that a lot of the wealthy only know about.
I got a question. Another question is, when you say you like to give back to the communities and stuff, how can people reach out to you when they have organizational events, or if they want to donate to your cause? How does someone contact you and say, hey, listen, I got this thing going on here. Can you come help us out with this? What do they have to do to reach you?
I have Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. I have a kids foundation, a website called toughchoicesfoundation.com, and that's a way you can email me through there, where we're always looking for partnerships, always looking to come out and work with the kids or find different ways. If they need book bags, then we go out there and raise the funds to help that particular school give book bags. I know one time it was a school who had a high percentage of kids who was on free reduced lunch, so on the weekend they weren't eating. So we started a fund a year and a half ago where every weekend we'll have book bags with food already in there for the kids to take home for the weekend until they got back to school. And so it's just find different ways to partner with organizations and them reaching out and find those services just to make sure the kids have the things they need.
So I think the one thing that you brought up, Ruben, was about the life insurance policy or the insurance policy, and because they give a lot of advantages. A lot with an insurance, you can do a cash value life insurance. You can always put the money out, and if you need it, you can always turn around and borrow it back. So there's not a lot of risk in that, and also it puts that money away from them in the pocket burning hole. Because one of the biggest issues I think from a business standpoint is we're all taught is you have sales minus expenses equal profits, but really it should be sales minus profits equal expenses. So it's kind of a backwards twist to what it is, as opposed to saying, oh, let me go spend my money first, to where really what I've got to figure out is what is my end game to put it away. And I think with a lot of these guys, if they get the right financial advice and they do the right kind of things like that, as far as getting, whether it's a mentor or structure, or they fall into that and they put it in buckets to where now if you take, okay, I'm going to get 300 grand, maybe I take 10% of that and I blow it. But first of all, the other part is they're going to pay taxes, which is the biggest chunk. Through all of our lives, the most our biggest expense that we're going to have is taxes, and there's no doubt about it. And so I think it's important that one is they need to have some kind of tax structure to understand where they minimize it. And that's not something you think about, because if you're walking into your accountant at the end of the year, you're going to pay 2 or 3 times more than you would have planned that across the board. I think that's probably one of the biggest gaps, and as a younger fellow to do it. And I'm not sure what kind of planning you had when you were getting your contracts. What was yours like?
I think mine was all over the place, and I think as a young guy, it's typically like that. And now, going into my 4th year, I think it's just now finally starting to get a grasp of how to actually even have LLCs and how C corps and different things like that play a role in your everyday life as far as your income and being able to try to do a lot of things to your business.
But when you came out, when you came out, what kind of structure, what kind of advice did you get? Say, okay, hey, you're going to get this check, or you got this check. What did they put? And this was at the professional level, not at a high school level, to where a lot of these guys are coming out and getting the money.
Right. I would say I wouldn't say it's not much structure there for you, but you almost have to seek it. I would say at that time I wasn't truly seeking it, so I didn't really have any structure as far as taxes. All I knew was that you got a check and you pay your taxes already taken out, so you didn't have to worry about owing, and then that was it. At the end of the year, you filed it, and that was it. But I think that's the disadvantage, that you just know the basics when you have so much more. But they were right. If you just let them take your taxes out, you file it in the year, you're right. You don't owe taxes, and you didn't win either. And so I think that I didn't get bad advice or good advice. I just got advice that kept me in the clear. But knowing myself now, 4 years later, I think it's so many different advantages that I could have worked back then. But back then I was just told to do the basic.
If I could ask a question, and maybe both of you could help me answer this. Thinking about what you were just saying about, why do I have to first get the income to pay the taxes and then spend my money? Could an athlete like Devon, could he have structured his contract with his team and made himself a corporation? And then after that, he would have been able to deduct money before it went through the whole tax game that he's going through?
So it's a really good question. So you get into like PhD from a tax standpoint.
Sure.
Can you, in the right environment with the right structures? Yes. The way it is set up right now, it's all based off an individual performing, so they call them employees. But it doesn't mean that the employee can't perform for that other company. But there's a couple vehicles out there right now, even if you're a W-2, call it a high earner W-2, that opens up the option for real estate agents, athletes, or whatever the case may be, to be able to minimize their taxes and be able to let their money grow. Because the hard part of it is you're paying into the government, which we all do, but they're dictating where your money goes. And if you can save $10, $20, $30, $40,000 a year, that's going to be worth millions down the road, especially an 18, 20-year-old kid to be able to do it. So there are vehicles that are out there that get it. They're a little bit more sophisticated, but there's definitely vehicles.
So would he have been able to negotiate his contract on his company, and his company pays him the salary that his company decides, and his company spends all the money before it gets taxed?
So that's interesting. It's interesting you say that, because I've talked to a couple of the big agents. Believe it or not, again, this one agent I was talking to, he's got a whole bunch of big name ones. Believe it or not, it's not been a subject that's been broached as much as far as what it would be. But we have employees that are leased. You have ready leasing or whatever the case may be. You have employees that are there. They actually go there and perform. So they could, I think so, but I don't know whether there's precedence that's been set. But I'm sure if a big enough, Patrick Mahomes comes out and says, hey, this is the way I'm doing it, they're going to do it because they want the guy to play. So I think you have a
So you
great
need that.
point.
You need that first person to say, "Hey,
Right,
why do you choose what taxes I pay?
right.
You pay my company, and I choose what I pay.
Yep. Big difference.
We need someone to do this,
Yeah, it's a big difference.
right?
That would change the game for sure.
That would help everybody keep their money.
Keep a chunk of it. So
Yeah.
obviously, if you're making money, you're paying some tax, right? There's no doubt about that. But why pay more than you have to pay? Because right now the IRS says they collect over $50 billion a year for people that aren't there, and the IRS itself, it's like 99% is how to take deductions. 5% is not, don't do these kind of things. So it's one of the things that's more. It's built for the people that have money. It's built by politicians, and it's built to be able to show this is what we do. But what happens is a lot of the other people, like the normal people, don't follow it because they don't know, because they think, well, the IRS is going to come and arrest me. No, IRS is fine. They're not really monitoring everything. If you're taking deductions, you file the right forms, and you're being able to document in the right way. I think that's really the key.
The football players have
Yeah.
the right money.
They can definitely save a lot of money, and then their retirement's going to be better. But the biggest concern with that really is, and Tavon touched on it earlier, is that these young guys coming out, how many people actually make it to the pros? And how many people really make more money? So it's a great opportunity for these young guys to come out and set a standard that what they have, and be able to build up their legacy, even if they only play college, even if they go to college, they get hurt in 2 years.
Right.
They can actually do it, because there's not all the guys, but some of the guys is quite possible. With the right financial planning and the right structure, they can essentially set themselves up for life.
Well, yeah, I think even with the NIL, I was saying that now I think once it fully gets a full 4 years and it gets through all the colleges, all the systems, you should have guys leaving really not having to go to the NFL to make good income, because now you're able to work with companies, you're able to start your own company, you're able to do certain things where you got 4 to 3 years to learn these concepts, where you should be able to leave with either your own company, or if you want to go partner with another company and work under a company. But I think putting less pressure on guys having to go professional to be successful is the initiative that I think I want to change. I want to see a change in the next 20 years, is that guys leaving, being stable on themselves, leaving out of college, then having to depend to go professional.
That's a great point. And before we started this thing, I mentioned a little bit to Teron about you got to brand yourself, and part of the branding yourself is if you got these high school players that are starting to get some money coming in, or these college players getting some money coming in, why not invest in a professional agency to help brand yourself and your social media? Because nowadays it's all about social influencers. Right now, you don't need to go watch television to buy a product. You just need the person to influence you, and who are they going to influence? Their own social group. So why not? Why if I got money coming in, why would I give the money to someone else? Why not your company? You make your own company, hire your own branding company to brand you. And once you brand you, you're able to distribute others' products, and you get paid for it. But why allow other people to profit off your brand when the brand is the player? Please give us some insight on that. What are your feelings about that?
I think you got I personally think you got a great point.
Clever.
Yeah, they got a great point, but the big difference of it is that built by the money machine. The more money you spend, the higher up that you're able to go, unless you hit something like that. So if they invest in themselves, they're going to get a bigger return back, and now not just sell the one product, but to be able to sell many products. I mean, like Mr. Beast will probably be the richest guy ever, and he's basically a YouTube star. He'll be worth many billions by the time it's all said and done. So,
No, I think that's important. The branding piece, and having that structure. I think that's the biggest thing. The brand just gives you a structure, or know what you stand for, or the different things you support. And so now you're able to, because I think the biggest thing working with MJ that I've learned is partnerships, and being able to grow where it's not all about just having that one piece of the pie, but being able to kind of have your own branding yourself, but then it helps you better understand who you're able to work with and what brands coincide with what you have going on. And I think that's been the biggest thing for me and my success so far, is being able to be blessed to partner with people who have similar visions than me.
So let me ask you a question. When you see those other partnerships out there, are people open to you or closed to you?
Are the people open to me or close to me? It's so funny because I did a talk to my old high school my high school last week, and all the kids kept asking me, how do you network? Like, how do you find mentors? How do you find people? And I always said that I think it's an interesting way of, you almost seek what shall come in the way of what you want, then like people will know how to work with you. In a sense, and
but
so,
I mean, that's kind of
I know
soft.
I was, and it was so funny because I gave that answer to the kids, and I knew I wasn't giving them the correct answer because I got asked it 5 times through the speech. Well, later another kid asked me, "Well, how do you find them?" And I'm like, I truly think that you have to know what you want, and while you kind of on the journey of searching for what you want, they will like come. I don't think you can like technically just go out there and find this like genie person that's going to be able to just like change it. I think it's like a situation where you're kind of chasing your dreams, and then that person, like you guys both coincide together. And I don't know if it's sometimes it's closer, where I told somebody it could be the person running your house, or it can be the guy that's 30 hours away from you, but you will find that out while you're chasing your dreams. If you never start, then you won't meet that person.
But I'll tell you, because I thought about it the other day, I think the biggest issue to what it is with a lot of the people that I see that are successful versus not successful, and I think what that really is the people that are really successful have a clear where they're going.
Right.
They know where they're going. They might not know how they're going to get there, but they know this is where I'm going, and I'll do whatever it takes to be able to get there.
Right.
And it's hard to give an answer like that. And the bottom line of it is, hey, you know where you're going. You just got to break it down and make those little steps really along the way. I think that's the difference. Most people don't know, and they're not committed enough to be able to follow through.
Right. So you actually never meet them.
Right. So the difference of it is, and for me, it's a fault I have, is that sometimes, and I know Ruben has this as well, is that you care more about what they have and what they're doing than they do.
Right.
And it's like, well, how do you cut your time off, and how do you say, well, look, I can't do it, and it's hard because you really care. Right. You want them to, save taxes or get a patent or build a business or do something like on those lines. But it's funny because they just don't have that desire to be able to hit it.
Right.
I mean, it's funny that way.
Yeah.
Well, I think what you want to say was the key. He has to go on and get it. He can't wait for it to come. So I think what he told the young students that he went and was mentoring, it's not just about them coming. I got to go search it. I got to go find it. I got to have the will to go find it. I got to have the belief that once I find it, I'm going to know what to do with it. Right?
But how do you say, you take a kid that's young, high school, whatever he is, how can you say at that level, what do you do? Because they're looking for those steps to be able to make that next step. Right, and then so what would that step be? No, you know what I'm saying?
What would that first step would be for them? Would be like if a kid say, like he's like he wants to do art, right? And I'm like, okay, well that first step is you got to go out and you got to go where art places at. If you always only at home, how do you find somebody that knows the art business? Not someone that paints, but you want to meet someone that knows the art business. How do you meet that one special guy if you never go to art places, or you never go out to when they have career fairs, and you've never been to a career fair to see who knows about art? And so when I tell kids, it's the step of the things that cost you $0 most times. Most of the time, the things that that usually get you somewhere, it doesn't really cost you. So when everyone says, I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't know where to find it, I'm like, you just haven't started yet. Because usually those things, like I said, don't come with a cost. You going somewhere or going to a career fair, that's just you staying out late when you want to catch a bus, or not hanging out with your friends, you're just going over there instead. So usually it's like a tough choice, which is why my Kids Foundation is called that, because I think most of the decisions aren't really money. It's more about, do you really want to go there or you don't? And once we pass that, then you'll realize all the other stuff is already waiting on you.
Where are you going to be in 20 years?
I don't know.
Where do you think you're going to be?
I take days. I take the day by day. But I think in 20 years, I'll be somewhere sitting down, mentoring kids at my school, and helping kids reach their full potential with having those resources and different things that I think I've probably built over that time.
Well, MJ, Teron, I hate to cut this short this time. I think we ought to do this again with a little more time. We got a little brief taste intro of what we could do to help the community. Teron, you're from South Florida, I understand. You went to Notre Dame. I see the Notre Dame thing. So we could talk about a lot of things, but more so is how to help young students, athletes succeed in today's marketplace where you could get lost so many different ways. Teron, please tell us how they can contact you one more time.
Contact me on Facebook at Tavon Coney, or LinkedIn is Tavon Coney, and my Instagram is TAY_CONEY9, and my website is toughchoicesfoundation.com.
MJ, anything else to add?
And for me, just hit me at LinkedIn at MJJULIAN.
Great. Alcoba Law Group here. You guys know me, Doral Voice. We look forward to seeing you next week, and thank you so much.
Thank you.